Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Willkommen in der grünen Hölle, the green hell, the Nürburgring Excuse me. Jack, I apologize. Viewers, I apologize. I fumbled it right on the first line. Shame. The Nürburgring Nordschleife. What an epic race this will be today for the weekend warriors in the Spec Racer Ford, presented by RaceVoice Live, right here on Apex Racing TV. 12.9 miles, over 70 turns, depending on how you count them, of course. And a single mistake can send your car ricocheting from one wall to another like a shopping cart crashing down a mine shaft. I am your host and the series' biggest fan, Jim Hodgson, joined today on commentary by the legendary race caller, the monster from Munster, Mr. Jack Cannon, and on production, it's none other than Jonathan Grabowski, known to his many admirers as Johnny Grabs. Jack, I learned before the broadcast that you were in fact not from the province of Munster, but never mind that. What a race we have today. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, looking forward to that. Yeah, I mean, I appreciate the sentiment, but it's one province over. I'll give it to you, honestly.
Oh, thanks.
But yeah, this is going to be great. I mean, the Nordschleife is probably the biggest challenge that any driver can face in any car. It's just, as you said, one mistake will push you back minutes. If you crash and you tow, it's 5 minutes of towing around here. So it's a lot around here. But Spec Racer Ford guys, I'm wagering are going to put on a good show, as they always do every single week in this series. And I'm not sure if it's coming up on broadcast, but it is looking a bit foggy out there, Jim.
It is indeed, and we just saw Gehan have a little moment there. I believe that was Adenauer Forest, but I think that a lot of drivers are going to get caught out right there, because Orenburg is a big turn and everybody knows it's coming, but then you got that Fuchsrohe and you can just absolutely rip it up. And then the question is how much to brake. And to me, that section of the track, that Adenauer Forest section, always catches me out. I think it just caught Gehan out as well. But then again, Jack, there are plenty of places here around the Nordschleife where one can easily be caught out. Let's see how Aero Nam handles this uphill. I believe this is the Spiegel curve, unless I'm very much mistaken, which is also easily possible. Again, 70 turns on track today. So while I'm a great lover of the track, as Jack is, of course, as are we all, have been there, one of the greatest days of my life. We are not necessarily going to get everything right the first time, so please forgive us as big fans. But yeah, it's exactly as Jack said. We're expecting some very big race-ending crashes. The tow will take a long time, and but we're expecting to see about, I would think, around an 8-minute lap.
That's what we're looking at as the Hugh Hayhawks goes over the big jump in the last sector right there. So there is two of them. There's the Flugplatz and there's that one, which is in the last sector of this one. This is a brilliant section coming through the last kind of few kilometers of the circuit right now. You've got to basically do this on memory coming up here before you. This is basically just before you join the big long straight that everyone knows. So you flip it into the right here. And then you got this almost 90-degree left-hander. You flick it in, try not to use too much of the curbs. Another left awaits you, and we all know what this one is, the kind of carousel. You can use the inside right there, and thankfully these SRF cars can take it. Some cars bottom out over that, but the Gen 3 Spec Racer Ford managed to deal with it quite well. And then, right after this part, as soon as you get through this corner right here, you can basically just chill out for a little bit, because these cars will take an absolute age to get to the end of this big long straight.
Yes, of course, if you've been there in real life, you know that this would be where you are slowing down to pull off the track, to card in again to go around another time for your bridge to gantry time. This is the Dottingerhoel just a second ago. But yeah, that Kleine Carousel, to me, I always remember that I need to get on the brakes when the tarmac becomes suspiciously nice before that second carousel. You know, it just becomes suspiciously smooth, and I feel like I'm being tricked, Jack, which I often am. If you don't get on the brakes there right before that Kleine Carousel, as you mentioned, there's that turn that's the Schwalbenschwanz, I believe, but you can easily have a wreck there, as we're looking at David Bohm. I expect him to do well here.
Yeah, I think we can expect the Germans to do well here at their home circuit, of course. But this is a circuit that you just have got to know like the back of your hand to do well right here. And we're just about to head to the grid, of course. And well, Hugh Haycox has managed to nip pole, and there's the lap. 7 minutes 44.9 is the pole time. David Gaspers on the front row, Aaron Nom in third, and David Bowman P4. Now that gap of 4/10 from Hugh Haycox back to Aaron Nom in P3 is tiny, around a 14-kilometer lap. Florence Arabian back on the grid as well in P5. Nice to see Florence back. Maurizio Naselli and John Pereira, Tim van Dormelen and Miro Vasky and Antonio Rice, of course. And we'll go through all the other drivers in their separate classes, of course, Spec 1, Spec 2, and the Masters. You've got J.W. Miller and Jeff Fritcher and Jerry McAreevy with Brian Short and Jesus Rodriguez. Mark Ian, Ian Gibson, and John Johnson. Then you've got Joust Simpkins and Christopher Smith in P22, Ken Batley, and Darren Kuhn in P24. Continuing on, Jeff Cantor and Tom Gradwell with John Nielsen and Jason Brown. Then Paul Jackson and Roland Wallbank, Bill Kraus, Sergei Aksentiev, Brad Speedle, Andres Bertoni down in 34th. Remember what he did in the remembering the race in the first time we did the Gen 3 cars, how far he came back. Sergio Dorelli and Fred Desay in 36, some new faces on the group, which is always nice to see. Jeff Jacobson and Kurt Nunez, Simon Meyer a long way down, Adam Bradshaw, Jerne Zorek, Ian Malone, Alexander Roggenbuck, who is a regular in the ARA F3 VR Super Series. Nice to see him on the grid. Danny Thomas, Daniel Engel, and Robert Ela in P46, which I think is the entire grid we've got for today. And a long run towards the first corner. We're not using the combined layout, of course, which will take even longer, but even so, going to be a good one.
Yes, well, thankfully not a full formation lap. That would take most of the afternoon, but we will come here to, we will find our way to the pits. It looks like we started just about the same spot you would start if you were at a tourist day at the Nordschleife, which I highly recommend. A whole lot of fun. And here we go. We will shortly, Jack, as you well know, be driving through Sabine Schmidt's corner, recently named. And here we go, across the start-finish line. And indeed, through Sabine Schmidt's. And it'll be Haycox in the lead from Gaspers, from Nom. Now, this section of the track, Jack, as you know, having driven here many, many times, is deceptively dangerous, especially on cold tires. Haycox and Gaspers, though, making it look easy. They'll need to get on the brakes right here. It doesn't seem like you might need to, but you definitely do. And then through this rest...
no.
Oh, no. Oh, Haycox into the wall already. Oh, just got a little bit of a tap there. It seemed like... Unfortunate.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to have a look at that again. Let's see what's going on here. I actually don't think he was tapped. I think he lost it by himself here, Hugh Haycox, as they come into the braking zone. We'll have a look as he comes in, and that looks like it's all by himself. Oh, he got out of shape on the way in, and then the car rolls over as well. So Hugh Haycox ends up on his roof in the very corner we were just mentioning, and David Gaspers now leads at home in Germany. Aero Nom, now they've just come through the Flugplatz, so we've managed to just get them now. They're heading towards Schwedenkreuz now. Nom on the outside, like this is really brave now. You got to be super brave to go around the outside over Schwedenkreuz. It's 2 by 2 they'll go, and they're going to be pretty respectful here. Gaspers still has the inside, and they get the inside for Arenberg, and David Boom was up to P3 as a result of getting past. Snelly used this. They're going side by side actually, and Nom runs off the road. Now he's gone too wide over the curb, and that's a very, very common mistake through there. And up they come now towards this next section at Adenauer, and Gaspers will have a small advantage now. Naselli back to second, Boom to third, and Nom with the small error moves himself down to P4, but there's still a long, long way to go in this race. 40 minutes, of course, which is actually not that many laps at the Nordschleife, but it's Gaspers with the advantage now. But we said one mistake costs you a lot, and that was a perfect example of that.
Yeah, I can't believe that Nam managed to get himself off the track and back on without too much of a loss. Of course, he is now down into P4. And also, I predicted a giant mess here in this Adenauer 4 section of the track, and it looks like the drivers have proven me a fool as they've gotten through mostly safely. Looking here at Pritchard on the back of Brasky's car, everybody navigating safely through. Now, this next section of the track, Jack, is look, I mean, I feel like a fool for saying that it's a very tough and technical section of the track because they are all that way, but maybe it's just because this is the part that I have a lot of trouble with. And it's, you know, the track seems to sort of echo itself from time to time, doesn't it? Because there's this downhill braking hard left-hander, and there are two. There's one, and then there's the next one. And they're both so deceptively hard. So here's the first. And around Haraski goes. He's managed it well. I have wrecked there many, many times. And then the next one, there's a sort of an access road on the right, which should be your braking point. But I'm never able to make that. There they go, next to the access road. I'm never able to use that, Jack, as my braking point because I'm usually already crashing. And up the hill we go. Still on lap 1.
Yeah, we're still on lap 1, believe it or not. Now, I did see on the timing tower, there was a couple of drivers dropping down the order, and I think it might have been in that very same corner that we were just talking about.
Oh, no.
And
short.
Unfortunately, multiple cars, short ends up in it. And, well, to be fair, there's been a little bit less carnage than I would have anticipated on lap number 1, but even so, it has claimed the victim. David Gasper, by the way, now a second and a bit now as they come through this long, flat-out section. And it's getting a little bit tight now. You can see Aaron Nom going to try and go for a double move here. This has got to be brave now. They're heading up towards this flat-out right-hander into the left. And it will be Nom who moves in front. They head through the left-hander, and very, very brave stuff from them there. But this is just giving Gaspers a little bit of breathing space. But even so, with the tow, Aaron Nom gone back within half a second. That is how much the slipstream is worth in this one. And they now head probably one of the most famous corners on the circuit coming up right now. And this is going to be a great camera shot that we're going to get through here as they head up through this long winding section and about to enter the carousel.
Oh dear, there's a sign in the way of the carousel. Well, that's interesting. Well, never mind. That was the first carousel, and we will head now through two very, very important parts of the track, parts that you know, names that you know. We'll soon be going through Wipperman, which is where the Radio Wipperman broadcasts from, and then shortly after that, we'll enter Brunchen, which is also known as YouTube Corner. Hopefully the drivers will be able to navigate that section of the track without any sort of an issue, and then shortly we will probably see some of these cars taking flight on that little ramp. We'll see if they're able to tap the brakes or just how they managed to handle it. Just quickly want to talk about the other specs on the track. Of course, we have Spec 1, which most of these drivers are Spec 1 drivers, Gaspers, Nambo, Naselli, but down in 6th place is Antonio Race, who we're just riding along with him. He is in the Masters, and leading Spec 2 is Miller. Car numbers over 200. Miller is leading Spec 2. He's driving in the middle of a tree, apparently, but there he is, leading Spec 2. Following Miller will be Smith and Gibson, I think. Masters, numbers over 900. So Batley in 2nd place, I believe, followed by Cantor running 19th overall. Now, Batley, I happen to know, having raced with him yesterday, has a bad habit of running into other drivers' cars, Jack. Particularly mine, Jack. I'm just playing Batley. I love you,
no
buddy.
bitterness whatsoever.
It's all said with love.
Yeah, he's doing quite well so far. He's running 2nd in his class. He has got Yao Simpkins behind, of course, who's in Spec 2, so he doesn't need to worry too much about him for now. But now I'm interested to see what the slipstream is going to be like. As they come through onto the back straight through Tiergarten and such. We're approaching the 18th kilometer around this circuit, so we're getting there now. And now they're going to be approaching it in just a few moments' time. It's getting a bit tight there between Desai, Durelli, and a couple of others there in their own little scrap. These guys in Spec 1. Also mixed in with Masters and Spec 2. There's the Kleiner carousel they go through on the left, a little bit of a lock-up from Durelli there as they come through. But now they're about to enter the long straight, and I can just see Aeronom is just flying up to the back of David Gaspers. And look at this now as they head down the long straight. Here comes the bump drafting in SRF. Is he going to bump drafting? No, he's just kind of half throttling, feathering the throttle, and he wants to stay behind. There, but Naselli, I don't think wants to. There he goes on the outside. Look at that from Maurizio Naselli, and he moves 3 positions up as they head down into the breakers up for Tiergarten. Really, really tricky breakings on here. You got to be pretty sure that you're going to stop. And Naselli, the German, now leads a German 1-2 at the Nordschleife.
I'm not sure how Naselli managed that. I do know, having driven this track in this car, that your top speed in the car is about 126 miles per hour. That's just where the car seems to top out, and it doesn't really even seem to make any difference. You're at 126 miles per hour in 5th gear. This car does have a 6th gear, and you would think that this would be the track where that 6th gear would come into play. And I suspect, Jack, that Naselli has realized this, and that his setup, because he was going at, I just happened to look at the timing tower, he was doing something like 136, so 10 miles per hour faster. And you'll forgive me, international viewers, for using miles per hour, but he was going very much faster than the rest of the field, and you saw him just walk by those guys, Jack.
Yeah, that was a massive speed difference for Maurizio Naselli versus the other guys. They're coming over the top of the hill now down toward the floodplaats. Gasper is trying to think about a move to the outside. Up they come over the crest of the hill and through the right, absolutely flat through here. And now they're already going to be thinking about Schwedenkreuz, which is over the top of this next hill. And it's now going to be Gasper's moving to the inside for this corner, which will turn to the outside for the breaks off for the right. So they're going to be side by side, but no, Gasper's is in front as they come up to Schwedenkreuz. Aeronom's going to also try and get through on the inside. That's going to be brave, and he does get through. But Gasper's back to the lead. Aeronom back to second, but look at that, there's a big old train forming now, with the tailing car being that of Florence Arabian, who's just hanging in there in P5. So 5 cars breaking away. Tim van Dormelen and Antonio Rice are together as well, with Ian Haycox in the middle of that as well. So this is really tight at the top, but I don't think you can be surprised to know that 3 Germans are battling for the top positions.
Very touchy on the braking there, a little bit terrifying for me just riding on here with Florence Arabian, but he managed to get it stopped. And I do want to say, you mentioned this, but a shout out to Tim van Dormelen running 6th overall. Now, great driver is Van Dormelen. We often see him in the top 10, sort of thereabouts, but to be running 6th overall in his number 20 car, looks like he's got the better of race as well. Nice work, Van Dormelen. Well done to you, sir. It's a big day for Dutchmen in their racing cars, I guess.
Yeah, I think he's going to be very happy with that. He's, of course, in Spec 1, he's not exactly far off the back of the lead train either, is Tim van Dormelen. So if the fight continues up in front of him, he may be able to just maybe latch himself onto him, which would be great to see if he's able to do that. They're in the middle sector now on this long lap, already 10 minutes in, and we've only done a lap and a lap plus a bit. Early phase as one car off the road there. That's Nunez.
Might be Nunez.
Who's just gone a bit wide and just got himself on the grass. And I think he has managed to rejoin, and he has indeed managed to rejoin, thankfully, without hopefully any damage. And we'll just jump back to the front now, as they're now on this infamous section where Niki Lauda, of course, had his horrific accident back in the 70s. It's right there, actually, where he had it, and they now come through. It has a really complicated name in German coming up, but I think it's more aptly known as Miss Hit Miss, the triple right-hander, Miss Hit Miss. That's the way you have to think about it as they come up through the left, and we now have to wait to see if we're going to have another move here. Nom's moving kind of out of the slipstream back into it. I think he doesn't want to get too close. Here now, it looks like Boom's going to go for the overtake. Nom is going to go for it. Look at the overspeed out of the draft. David Boom is rapidly going by him as if they're stopped, and Boom trying to get through. That's Nom under the grass a little bit as they come into the next left-hander. And I love that sticker on the back of Aeronom's car, "Don't kill me, please," on the back of the car of Aeronom as they come up into the right-hander. and David Bohm obliges and stays behind the Estonian for now as they come into the right-hander before the carousel. But Nom leads now. David Bohm back to second, but the overspeed with the without the slipstream, or using the slipstream and slingshotting by, is unbelievably powerful. Way more powerful than they thought it would be. But into the carousel they go, and Nom takes the lead for the first time.
Yeah, an unbelievable difference in the draft. It's just so tempting to me to tap the brakes on that final left-hander through that sort of flat-out section after Bergwerk, but don't do it. These guys don't do it, certainly. Here we go again shortly through Wipperman and then through YouTube Corner. Hopefully no more incidents. Of course, these guys are expert drivers. Quickly, let's look at our Spec 2 standings. It looks like it's going to be Miller running 13th overall, currently leading Spec 2, followed by Simpkins and then Meyer. Meyer ahead on points. That reminds me, Jack, let me quickly tell you about our point standings. Now, this is the second race in the series, but last week the Spec 1 podium was Bohm, Bobby West, and Ian Haycox. Spec 1 and Spec 2 was Meyer, J.W. Miller, and Adam Bradshaw. I'm not sure if Miller or Bradshaw are on the grid today. If they are, I apologize, but I don't remember hearing their names. And of course, the Masters podium was Chris Murakami, Antonio Race, and Steve Ray. So those guys are all in those same positions. That might change today based on today's results. Here we're looking at Meyer in the 308 machine. Absolutely pounding along, but he seems to be by himself. Here is Race. He has gotten around Tim Van Dormelen. Race running 6th overall. Great driver is Antonio Race, and he's also one of the members of this community who is happy to share information, happy to help you out. We were on the, we were on the Discord yesterday during the Formula V race, just talking and sharing setups, and that's what makes this series so great, Jack. One of the reasons we love it so much. Ooh, Van Dormelen.
Oh, gosh.
Van Dormelen getting a little spicy there. I don't know about that one. He ended up getting a little grass under his wheels. Jack, have I perpetrated some kind of commentator's curse by praising Van Dormelen?
Tends to be the way things happen there with Van Dormelen, but thankfully he survived, but to carry on, but losing a little bit of time to Antonio Race in front. And now I wonder who's going to lead the next lap is the next question. Zero Nom is in the lead at the moment. That lead's going to come down quite fast as they come down, but David Gaspers, he's going to move in front, and I think he actually might get in front of Nom as well. Depends on the overspeed here, but as they head down towards Tiergarten, it's still neck and neck between Gaspers. Look at the overspeed. I can't get over it. David Gaspers back to the lead right now, and Naselli's going to do it again. Is he 3 wide down the back straight? Naselli's just gone. He's completely gone, and he leads this race once again as they swap places left, right, and center. And Nom from the lead goes down to P4 all of a sudden. And that is why you do not want to be leading the final lap. Nobody will want to lead into Tiergarten. Look at this from Gaspers again up the inside through Tiergarten. Not a good idea to do that, but Naselli leads again. And that, whatever he's done to that car with the setup, that is a rocket ship in a straight line.
It really is, and there's such that long straight. You make a great point between the Dodingerhöhe and Tiergarten is just absolutely flat out, and I would expect to see these cars, as I said, going about 126 miles per hour. That's what the baseline setup will just about do when you're all by yourself. But these drivers, of course, are not running the baseline setups. They're able to make their own setups. Normally, they share them with one another as well, but I think Naselli has managed to find some kind of wizard to make a setup for him because he's absolutely magic between the gantry and the bridge. Here he goes. He's leading away from Gaspers, from Bohm, from Nom. Keep in mind, all these drivers have huge I rating and a ton of skill. Unbelievable to me to see Forens Arabian barely able to hang on to the back. He's another great, just a hugely skilled driver. So yeah, with that last lap, Jack, is going to be unbelievable. But of course, we also have to consider the pit strategy. And I was talking to some of the drivers before the race, and they were asking, do I drive 2 laps and then pit, or do I drive 3 laps and then pit to take my fuel? It'll be really interesting to see. Of course, we're on to lap 3, so I guess we're not doing 2 laps and then pit, not for the leaders anyway. But some drivers have already dropped into the pits. Jonas Zoritz, Jeff Jacobson into the pits and out again. I believe some other drivers have pitted. Let's see, Jean Pereira has pitted. Bertoni, Durelli, Nielsen, these guys have all gone ahead and taken their pit stop. So interesting to see what the leaders will do later on. There is Race battling it out. I believe that is that Haycox alongside in the number 35 car? It is. Just getting the better of Race, and Van Dormelen just behind. And that's Dobek running in 6th overall, just ahead of them as well. Dobek with his Bavarian flag on the top of his car, I believe. He is a German, so he would have some of those Bavarian blue and white checks, wouldn't he?
Yeah, that is certainly the flag of Bavaria on top of that car, and flying it proudly there in P6. But now it's David Gaspers who leads again. They swap places again, coming through the Flugplatz, and now, thankfully for, well, in these guys' mind, it's a German 1-2-3. Gaspers, Bohm, Naselli at the head of the field at the Nordschleife, and they're controlling things as it stands. But I think Naselli's quite happy to run in P3 in this lap. If he has a car that's able to stick, at the very least, in these sectors, he's going to easily get by them down the straight, unless they pull out. They're going to have to do some serious defensive driving to try and keep that man behind. They're going to have to really pull together a great middle sector here. But a little bit of a lock up there from Gaspers, goes slightly deep, but he might just about get away with it there. But you can see it's so easy to snatch a break. These cars as well, no ABS to help you, and they are very, very. I think it's been the complaints of these guys, and what the biggest thing to get used to is the braking. It seems to be a kind of a lot more snappy on the brake pedal than the older gen car. Of course, more power. It needs a little bit more stopping power, but doesn't seem to quite have it. So now, once again, it's going to get a little bit feisty here. Boom gets really close. Gaspers through, miss. So how has he saved that, Gaspers? That's a mega save from Gaspers, and he comes back and rejoins in as if nothing happened. He'll lose some track position, but thankfully he has not lost any of his car, any bits of his car. And Naselli's going to pounce now on David Bohm, around the outside through the left, down towards this next right-hander, and Naselli moves in front, but this could swap again, coming down towards the carousel. Here comes the slipstream back, so the slingshot effect. He's happy to sit behind Naselli for now, but that was an amazing save from David Gaspers, and he drops into P5, still very much in the fight, but that was a scary moment.
Indeed it was, and I think I saw Bohm's car showing us a little bit of the side of his car as well. And here we go. We're just about to go through the carousel. This is that huge braking zone after that gigantic, long, sort of flat-out section. And I would expect, Jack, as you say, Naselli to take the lead in that section, and indeed he did, even though it's not as flat and straight as the main back straight. Into the carousel once more. And Naselli trying to stay off of that tarmac at the bottom of the concrete plates there that are in that first carousel, which I think is the sort of received wisdom of how to fastest get around the carousel. The first carousel, you don't want to touch the bottom, and the second one you do, if I recall correctly. Of course, it's been a year or two, because for the last 2 years, I've been buried in a hole thanks to a global pandemic. But here are your leaders: Naselli from Bohm, from Nam, from Arabian, and Gaspers in this 5-man lead group. But race is going on all over the track. Of course, Race in 8th overall. Johnny Grabs has anticipated this move. Well done to you, sir. Thank you. He's running in 8th overall in the middle of this group of Haycox, Dobek, Fritcher, and Van Dormelen, all sort of running together. But Race is leading the Masters Series, his number over 900. Second in Masters will be Batley, I believe, down in 19th overall. Batley, I love you, buddy. I was just kidding before when I was giving you a little bit of grief about running into me yesterday. And Gradwell in P3 in the number 909 machine. And in Spec 2, our leader is going to be Miller, I believe, running in 11th overall, just behind Van Dormelen, or not just behind, since he's running all by himself in what looks like a McLaren with that sort of papaya color. Although I think that's a little more orange than the McLaren papaya, but never mind. And second in P2, it's going to be Meyer, who is probably leading the series so far in the number 308 machine. There he is. And Simpkins. Joost Simpkins is just behind Meyer. So those guys battling it out just behind Ian Gibson there, running 15th through 17th overall. And by the way, thank you so much to RaceVoice for making all of this possible. RaceVoice is proud to be the exclusive sponsor of the Weekend Warrior Spec Racer Ford Racing Series. Take your driving to the next level with on-track audible performance alerts with RaceVoice and RaceVoiceSIM. You can hear miles per hour. You can hear turn entry and exit speeds, upshift alerts, and other performance metrics which are selected and configured by you. Go faster with the speed of voice. Plus, Weekend Warriors get 50% off annual SIM pricing using the promo code of WW50. Check them out at www.racevoice.com. You can probably also leave off the triple W at the beginning since it is now the year 2021. But never mind. Here we go once more, and that is Batley just behind Malone, battling their way through the green hell. And they're just about to navigate that final carousel and get back onto the straight. And here we go with our leaders on the straight. Florence Arabian, 3 wide with Nam and Naselli. Florence Arabian in that purple car just there on the right-hand side of your screen. Oh, how is this going to shake itself out when we finally get to the braking zone? We've just gone under the bridge. Bohm in the lead. From Arabian, from Nam, from Naselli. Now, that's the way it says it on the tiny timer, but they are all over the track. Bohm at the rear of this group. It's Gaspers from Nam, from Arabian. And Naselli, Jack, did not do that well down that long drag. And, of course, we all have to pit now. Oh, boy. Oh. Bohm is going to stay out, Jack.
Oh, that's a big call from David Bohm. I hope he's got enough fuel to go another lap. But...
this
wow,
could be the
so
move.
David Bohm's going for an undercut, as is Antonio Rice. So they're carrying on in this. This could be a masterclass strategy if it works. But can I just point out, on that long straight, Gaspers went from 5th to the lead by just pushing Aero Nom out of his way, basically. Bump drafted them and used him to get through past everybody. That was phenomenal driving from David Gaspers, and now he comes out behind Aero Nom. So Nom's done a slightly quicker pit stop, actually, than him, and he has come out in front of Gaspers by about 2 seconds, actually. So that was a quick stop from Aero Nom. Florence Arabian behind, Naselli behind. So everybody has pitted except Bohm and Race out in the lead.
Oh.
And I think there may be a large amount of fuel saving if he hasn't done so already. But he could have timed this to absolute perfection. We have to wait to see. He'll have to take less fuel in, of course. So it could end up being a great strategy call from Bohm and from Race, but it's going to be pretty tight. They didn't have to take too much fuel. Obviously just probably fill the car up and go again to get a lap or 2 more in, but definitely not what I expected. I expected everyone to come in at the same time, but
Me too.
decided not to do it.
Yeah, unbelievable. Here we go once more through the Fuchsrohe, and shortly be in the Adenauer Forest once more. But yeah, well, you know, we were talking about this last week a little bit, Jack, but some of the drivers don't like they don't like the pit strategy aspect. I personally love it, and this is why. You know, here we are 25 minutes into the race. It feels like it started 2 seconds ago, but 25 minutes have gone by, and a whole new dimension has opened up thanks to Bohm and Race. Now, I will say they're not the only drivers who chose to stay out. I believe Ian Gibson and Fred Desay have both decided to stay out. But those are 4 drivers who have not pitted. The rest have either been into the pits or come out. And I think Robert Eley has not pitted as well, running in 42nd overall. So looking to make some big moves back there is Robert Eley, as well he should. But we're looking here at Bohm. Here is Nam running in 3rd with Gaspers just behind. But Jack, what this has done is sort of strung out that group a little bit.
And whatever Aero Nom did in the pit stops, he's managed to gain about 1.5 seconds over Gaspers. Arabian's kind of closed in a little bit as well. But an interesting thing to note is that Bohm is slightly extending that lead over Nom. That's the gap he needs to watch, is the gap back to Nom. On 23.2 it stands as he's gained 2 to 3 tenths, and he's flinging it through the uphill right. He knows this is an important lap, and I'm sure he's going to be glancing down at the fuel display at every possible opportunity just to make sure, does he lift and coast, does he do this, does he do that, but he doesn't appear to be backing off through any of these corners as of yet, and is making this an interesting race to say the least. I'm not hearing any signs of short shifting, as yet. It could be a good, but he's going to come across the line with less than 30 minutes to go. So if he times this right, Jim, actually, he'll only have to put a lap of fuel in and go again.
Yeah, this is going to be well, it's as you said. If he pulls this off, it is going to be an absolute masterstroke. But this is definitely one of those. It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see how it plays out. I can't wait to see how this, as I say, plays itself out. There is Batley. Ooh, Batley Malone there, just behind Batley, getting a little bit loose there as they head down the hill to the first of these very tricky, heavy braking left-handers. Great places to crash. These will go into the second one, and Malone is going to attempt to make a pass on Batley, headed down into the second one. Let's see if he makes it happen. He's very confident closing of the door there on Malone's part on Batley. Batley wisely, I think, should bide his time. Gradwell just behind, managing to hang on there in the 909 machine, running in 23rd overall. And here we're looking at Nam, and this is the group of Nam, Gaspers, and Arabian. Oh boy, it is going to be something else. This is the first carousel. You can tell because we can't see the drivers. Nam leads them through, and it's that second to last plate, or so my coach said. The second to last concrete plate there is where you want to exit the carousel. You want to split it with the underside of your car. And here we go, braking once more. But these drivers all very close together. Gosh, it is going to be just terribly interesting to see what happens with Bohm and Race as we head back down to, well, we're going to go through the carousel and then get on that straight once more. I would expect to see, Jack, who's your money on for leading this group as we get back to sort of the Tiergarten and Nordkar this time around?
It's going to be pretty hard to call, but it's Gaspers will certainly lead it at one point. Arabian might even nip in front, but it's a case of if you get by in the slipstream, the person behind you can just tuck right back in and get right back past you again. So it's kind of hard to call as to where this is going to be. So I'm watching the timer with interest here. So we tick over towards the 30-minute mark. I believe that if the timer is at about 32, it's going to be so tight. Bohm's going to have to fuel save if he wants to get this, but it's going to be really, really close as to whether he is going to get this working for him as he comes through the final carousel and now hops over the left. Now he's going to join us on the long straight down towards Tiergarten. And you'll see now it kind of just appears in front of you. Drop downhill, stay to the right hand side as much as you can, then on the power and stay there for a good chunk of this next part. But timer's ticking. Remember, the lap time is roughly 7 minutes and 44 or 45 seconds, maybe even closer to 7 minutes 50 on race fuel. So this is very tight. He will have marginal fuel, but maybe some track position. But I see Aeronom has actually closed in by about a second on that lap. Race as well. You've got to be watching him and see what he's going to have. And now here's the swap. Gaspers will move in front of Nom. Arabian not able to gain. He's kind of just sitting there. And now we'll see if that slingshot effect works for Aeronom. So Gaspers just got by him, but I think Nom's happy to sit behind now, and is he going to go for it? It's still a long way to go in this straight, but I can kind of hear him lifting. You can hear him lifting in the slipstream, and he is going to stay there for now. And surely now David Bohm's going to come in into the pit lane, and he does indeed come into pit lane to take his pit stop, and a really interesting call. So there is the lap time. You can see roughly in the 7 minutes, and we're watching the gap to Gaspers. That's the most important one that we have to keep our eyes on. As Gaspers now about to come to the last corner. He's flinging it through. He knows he needs to get this now. Where is Bohm? He's on the way out. There he is, trying to exit the pit lane. He's not going to do it, is he? He's not going to do it. Down towards Schmidt's curve. He's going to come out right behind them. So it almost worked, but I think that actually worked out for the better for Bohm, because he's actually going to be now in the slipstream of everybody. He might just sneak in one more lap.
Oh, what a moment. Unbelievable. We should say this seems to have worked out kind of okay for a race. Naselli dropping back. Something's happened to Naselli. Replay coming here. We should be seeing Naselli. Here he is at Sabina Schmitz. And he lost the rear of the car. Jack, what's happened to him? Is he running out of fuel?
Oh, he's
What
run
is
out of
going
fuel.
on?
Oh, no, he's run out of fuel.
Oh,
Maurizio,
Maurizio, no.
Either that or he's had a hardware problem that's gone on there. But if that is a case of running out of fuel, that is heartbreaking. But now the gap this fight gets interesting. It's Gasper's Nom Arabian. Boom's now 2 seconds back, so he's out of the draft of the guys in front. So it's worked kind of okay. As Florence Arabian, now does he fancy a go? He's had a quiet one so far as Florence Arabian, but firmly in this fight for the win here. As they come over Schwedenkreuz and into the braking zone for the right. It's going to be a case of a couple of seconds to spare. Whether we get across the line for one more lap, we should do.
I think we will.
We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think it will be tight, but I think these guys will go around one more time, which is that could really throw a wrench into the works if you timed your fuel sort of very, very closely. Here's that big braking zone for Adenauer Forst. This place catches me out every time. This left-hander is just sharper than you think it is, and it's so easy. And if you just touch the curb here, Jack, you are going into the wall, no question about it. But these guys navigating well, of course. So our lead group now down to just about 3 cars. Bohm is just a few seconds off of this group. So as you said, even though it seemed like I don't know, sort of, it seemed like he got a good exit from the pits. He was behind these drivers, and we thought he might be able to just sort of stick onto them and then come around once more to the Dodingerhohe and be able to, potentially get around him. There's going to be a big fight for the slipstream, and we will see that in a lap or two to come. But Bohm seems to be falling off a little bit. Maybe he sort of put all his eggs in one basket, and now he feels like, well, it didn't work. So you wonder what's going on, but maybe he'll be able to claw himself back. Gap now about 2.5 seconds.
Yeah, it is going up rather than down for David Bohm because he hasn't got the benefit of a draft, and he's outside of the window for the draft, which is unfortunate for him. He's not able to get back into it. What he needs to do is for there to be side-by-side action up in front for him to kind of claw his way back into this one. And now the draft's going to take effect up here in the lead. Gasper's kind of building a small gap. That's 0.7 of a second it now lies at. And it's Florence Arabian who's actually the man on the attack in P3. 0.7 of a second, there's a really small gap because it will get eaten up in the draft by Aeronom and Co. Here comes Florence Arabian now. I wonder, will he try and make a swap here, or is he going to try and stay behind? He's all over the grass. He's looking to the outside line, which will turn to the inside. And again, not quite able, but Nom's getting pulled along by Gasper as well, and that overspeed is huge. Here comes Arabian. He's got the inside for the next corner, and will he get the both of them? Look at that speed from Florence Arabian. That's 2 positions. Arabian leads at the Nordschleife, and that is mega quick in a straight line because he got the benefit of a double toe from Nom and from Gaspers, and that is close to a 10 to 50 mile an hour difference. Gaspers not taking it up, not lying down up the inside before the carousel and retakes it, but it seems to be now, do you really want to be in the lead?
Yeah.
Slap, and even that small little side-by-side action has cost them about half a second to Bohm.
Yeah, Bohm's gap now just about 1.7, I believe, from Nom. Excuse me, that's 1.3 up to Nom's car, and that has cost him, as you say, Jack, unbelievable. Now, Gasper's, of course, in the lead against once more, but Arabian was going so fast at the end of that flat-out section that he had to tap the brakes in that little left-hander there, which is the place where normally you would be 100% flat out. But I think just for safety, he was saying to himself, boy, I am going so unbelievably fast. I better tap the brakes here. So once more, we go through this Wippermann and Brunchen area. And quickly, I just want to remind you guys, do subscribe to us at Apex Racing TV on YouTube for tons more sim racing action. It's always this fun, guys. You don't always get to hear me, and you don't always get to hear Jack, but Well, it's a treat when you get to hear Jack, for sure. But do subscribe to us on YouTube for tons more sim racing action. Hit that bell icon to be notified when we go live. You can also find us on Twitch, twitch.tv/Apex Racing TV. And of course, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. All those usernames are just Apex Racing TV. Look for any broadcast that's got Jack Khan on it. You will be delighted. No question about it. Gasper's now leading Arabian from Nam and Bohm. And here we are looking once more at Haycox on the rear of Fritcher's car. Fritcher running 5th overall, Jack. Nice work, Fritcher.
Yeah, that's a really great job from Jeff Fritcher and Ian Haycox as well, running very nicely, considering what happened to lap number 1. The man who started on pole ended up on the wall straight away, and it's going better for him in this late phase of the race. And Nom's got back past Arabian, as you can see, and I think Arabian possibly might have let him through, because I think Arabian's already thinking about that double draft on the last lap, which will certainly play into his hands. But Nom is trying now to at least in the draft, because it is perfect demonstration of how powerful it is in these new cars, because it was never that powerful until that until this one. And now we're going to join the straight once again. We are going to get one more lap here at the Nordschleife, so there's still time for these guys, and I don't think Gaspers wants to lead this last lap. And I wonder, is Nom actually not going to go for it? I reckon he's going to try and stay behind here. You can see how quickly he's closing up in the slipstream, and he hasn't gone for it on previous occasions as they come up now towards Tiergarten, getting closer and closer. But I reckon that's going to be Nom staying behind over the crest of the hill. We're still not at Tiergarten just yet, coming under the bridge, and Tiergarten about to come up now. Nom does not want to be leading on that last lap, and Gaspers, he can't really do anything about it, because he's either got to back off massively and lose more than one position, or he's got to lead this last lap as they come now through the right, through the left, and through the final right. There's one more lap here at the Nordschleife SRF Weekend Warriors, and it's all up in the air, so who's going to take it? And Gaspers leads the last lap, and look how close the lap times are, around over 7-minute lap, close to 8-minute lap. They're all within a couple of tenths.
Absolutely, and we were just within a couple of seconds, less than half a minute of the race ending right there, but we will get another lap. As you say, unbelievable racing today. We knew it was going to be something special, and it absolutely was. Quickly, let's take a look at our other Spec Series race, running 9th overall. Although Race has dipped into the pits, Jack. He's pitted out of, I think he was running 7th overall, unless I'm very much mistaken. They did not expect to have to go around another time. So Race has pitted, or maybe he's pitted for damage. Interesting. This is, I believe, a replay. Yes, indeed it is. So here he is. Yeah, he's just dipping into the pits right behind Van Dormelen. Unbelievable. Race will come out in 10th, I believe. But anyway, he is nevertheless still going to be leading the Masters in that 906 car, 10th overall. There it is, looking much cleaner and much more as it came from the factory. Race in the 906 machine, leading Masters. Spec 2 will be Miller, running 9th overall, just ahead of Race. We just saw his car. There it is, the orange 200 machine. And second in Spec 2 will be Meyer in 308. Great driver is Meyer. And third will be Smith in the 783 machine, I believe, as they are on the road. Those standings are not necessarily official just yet. We do have to get all the way across the finish line, and our leaders are once more on that flat out section. So we'll see if there are any lead changes. There's Gaspers from Nam. And this is that section that's just absolutely 100% flat out before we get to Adenauer Force. This braking zone will come up shortly. And Arabian just hanging on by the skin of his fingernails. Gasper's navigating this turn that always catches me out once more. And boy, Jack, what is going to happen when we get to that final straight?
I wonder. I reckon Gaspers is already thinking about trying to let Nom through so he can follow. Going on to that straight. It's going to be a game of cat and mouse. Think Monza 2019 F1 qualifying. Remember what happened there with the game of cat and mouse for the slipstream. That's exactly what's going to happen here on the back straight, because think the man in the best position though right now is Florence Arabian. It's absolutely Florence Arabian, because if he can get a bit closer onto that back straight, he's going to slingshot by them, and there's nothing these guys can do about it now. What is going to happen here, because Gasper is now gone a little bit defensive down into this really tricky left-handed. This is a horrible corner if you get it wrong. It's all the camber on the inside, a wall to greet you on the outside if you lock up, and they negotiated nicely there. These pro drivers showing us how it's done into the left-hander right here before you climb steeply uphill with everything around you, using the camber as well to your advantage. Then a long run down towards the mid-hit miss section, which is always a great one to, when you get it right. On worn tires, it is definitely one of the worst, but they're doing it very nicely so far. Bohm's kind of dropped off. He's not a factor in this battle, unfortunately, for David Bohm. He's 3.2 off the back now, and no sign of him catching up unless there's an incident. But Florence Arabian, he's looking pretty close, coming up to the next section, and this is where he made the move last time, and I think he might try it again, as they can now come through the left now. They're coming towards the area with the carousel. Remember, he slingshot past the both of them this time. Does he do it this time? No, he doesn't, and he's staying behind, as is Aaron Nom, and Gasper's going to be like, come on, guys, give me the slipstream.
I just want to quickly disambiguate as we watch this battle go on. It is Ian Haycox who's running in P5 overall. That is Ian Haycox. That is Haycox the Elder, not to be confused with Hugh Haycox, who is the driver who had a little bit of an incident on the first lap and flipped his car. Hugh Haycox currently running 21st overall. That's the driver who had the flip. They are family members. There's Haycox the Younger and Haycox the Elder. Unfortunate result today for Haycox the Younger on lap 1, but not unfortunate for us in terms of these drivers, as once more they go around the carousel. Gaspers exits those concrete plates as predicted, and there he goes, and Arabian just falling off a little bit. It seems like, I think he was wise, Jack, to bide his time on that flat out section and not try to get ahead as he did before, just because he wants to be in the rear after we exit the Kleine Carousel. He wants to be able to leapfrog past these guys, and they're no dummies. They know he's going to try it, so they're going to try to stay away from him, but everybody sort of in a waiting game now to see what happens after that Kleine Carousel on the last couple of turns and on that last straight up to Tiergarten. What a finish this is going to be.
Yep, so expect 3 wide down the straight. That's exactly what's going to happen here in these last few moments of the race. They're just coming through the right-hander before coming through a YouTube corner, which is what we're going through right now. Of course, if you watch the compilations of the Nordschleife, you'll know this is where everybody crashes, hence why YouTube corner. But you can see now Arabian falling off a little bit through this section, and can't afford to fall off too much because he won't get the benefit of the draft. And it's now approaching crunch time. This is the little jump right here, and no tap of the brakes at all before they get to the crest. They're going flat out over the top of that, then getting on the brakes. And I think Gaspers and Nom opening it out over Florence Arabian now, which is exactly what they need to do. Arabian's fallen back, so now it's a battle between Gaspers and Aero Nom. Now it needs to be, Arabian needs a mega sector here to get up to the back of these guys. Nom getting closer and closer. Gaspers will be vying him to get through before the straight. Through the left they go. They're going to join it in just a moment's time. And through the Kleine Carousel they go, utilizing the bottom tarmac there as they now rise up over the crest. Once again, then they're going to drop into a double right-hander before we join that last straight. And Arabian, I think, is too far back to capitalize now. So the guys have worked well together to break away from him. And now I think it's all in the lap of Aero Nom. Here they go, joining the long straight, but it is not over just yet. Nom will get a massive run on David Gaspers here down towards the last couple of corners. Last lap of the Nordschleife. Nom is going to bump draft him down the straight. He wants to leave for the very last moment here to get past Gaspers because he doesn't want to give him the slipstream. Again, a bump from Aero Nom. Now he goes for it. He's looking there as they come down over the crest. by side as they come towards the bridge before the kink. Nom goes in front for a moment, still neck and neck as they come over the crest, dropping down into Tiergarten. It's Nom with the small advantage. Gasper's backing up. It's still side by side. It's going to be a run for the line between Gaspers and Nom through Tiergarten. Absolutely neck and neck. Flings it right again. And they're still neck and neck as they come towards the last two corners. Gaspers is in front as they come to the last two corners. Through the right, through the left, and through the last corner. David Gaspers at home in the Nürburgring wins at the Nordschleife with a fabulous effort to hold off Aero Nom. And that is bravery at its finest. Arabian in third, Boom in fourth. And I think it'll be Ian Haycox picking up a P5. But once again, Gaspers, that was so brave to go late on the brakes there and hold Aaron Nom behind. I thought it was inevitable he was going to get him, but he proved us wrong.
Unbelievable. Nom gets the fastest lap of the race on the final lap, a 7:44.4, but does not manage to get around Gaspers on that final lap. Gaspers' final lap, 7:44.5. So not even a hundredth between these guys. Excuse me, just over, but unbelievable. There is Miller finishing in the lead of Spec 2 in the 200 car. And there is Race just behind, who will take the win in the Masters. Normally, guys, we have a little bit of a demolition derby at the end of this race. We're looking here at Gibson with Desai just on the rear of his car. Gibson is gonna be, where is he running? 4th or 5th, I believe, in Spec 2. It's getting a little bit of a tap there from Desai, I believe. But Gibson is gonna manage to keep it shiny side up and come across the finish line. But I'm not sure if the drivers are going to do a demolition derby this week, since driving at the Nürburgring is often a demolition derby in and of itself. Looking here at Nunez, who had a very eventful race, the 918 machine. I believe we saw him off track a number of times, and that is the tale that will be told by his bodywork at the moment. It looks a little bit worse for wear. Nunez just behind Zoritz, and Zoritz's car looks a little bit beat up. Absolutely. Well, not too bad there, is it? But his rear deck lid's got a little bit of damage on it. So, yeah, what an unbelievable, epic race it has been today. We knew it was going to be something special, and it absolutely was. Hard to believe the twists and turns, and I apologize for using that. I apologize for using that idiomatic language since we're on this track famous for twists and turns. But what a series of twists and turns when Bohm decided to stay out. Just absolutely unbelievable. Now, let's see if we have any drivers waiting for interviews, and we do. I'm just waxing philosophical, Jack, when we could have been interviewing our drivers. Here is today's winner, David Gaspers. Congratulations on your win, Gaspers. Unbelievable race. How are you feeling, sir?
Exhausted. I had to really push on the last lap. I was trying to lose them in some of the parts. I almost had them out of the draft several times, but yeah, it's really strong on this track.
Yeah, I was surprised that you guys were able to sort of drive Florence off of the rear of your cars there on that last lap. I just knew, and Jack and I both sort of agreed that we thought that he was in the catbird seat, and he was going to be able to slingshot by you guys on that final lap. But somehow, just before the Kleine Carousel, you managed to get, over a second on him.
Yeah, I'm quite a bit faster than most people through the section from the carousel to the, let's call it YouTube corner. Maybe you saw it earlier when I was behind someone, I was a bit stuck there. Mm-hmm. And on the last lap, I really pushed until the long straight there. And I think he was just not able to keep up there.
Well, an unbelievable race from start to finish. So what was going through your mind when you saw that Bohm stayed out, when all of you guys pitted out of the lead and Bohm stayed out? What were you thinking?
It would be good for me, because even though he would have a shorter pit stop with the saved fuel, I knew that he was slower than us, so he wouldn't have drafted on that lap.
Yeah, it was. I couldn't believe it when I saw that he and Race stayed out. I don't think it really paid off for either of them necessarily. Bohm ended up, I think they both ended up more or less where they were anyway, but it was an interesting strategy. It really, heightened the suspense for me But congratulations on your win today. An unbelievable battle between all of you guys, and you got to be feeling good.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, that's David Gaspers. He was our winner today, and congratulations to him. Can't wait to see you on track even more, Gaspers. And away he goes. And I believe we also have our second place finisher. I know our broadcast has gone a little bit longer than usual, but so much fun. I think we have time to talk to another driver or two.
Yeah, let's have a look. We haven't heard from him this season, so let's drag him in and see if we can have a chat with the second place man in this race. Aero Nom hops in with us now. Aero, that was a really, really close finish between yourself and David. Obviously, the slipstream really, really powerful. Just couldn't quite get it done.
Oh yeah, it was so difficult race. In the pit stop, I was thinking taking a little less fuel, but I took too little fuel. I mean, so I had to save until the last lap. So it was really difficult.
Yeah, how hard is it trying to keep the pace while also trying to manage the fuel as well? There's a lot that you got to think about.
Oh yeah, especially in this track, I'm not so comfortable, so it always was risk to lose the draft. So yeah, it was really difficult, and it's so much full throttle.
Yeah, and obviously you managed to try to keep with Gaspers there. Was it in your mind the whole way around the last lap that you were going to try and get him on the final straight?
Yeah, you always have to try, but going to the last straight, I was pushing him to make sure at least I finished seconds, and I took a little look in the end, but yeah, Gaspers is always so fast, and especially in the air, so I didn't deserve to win, so I took it a little bit carefully, but yeah.
Yeah, well, it's nice to hear that there's a little bit of camaraderie there between yourself, but a really good race and a great race from you, Aero, of course, for P2, and we'll, of course, wish you the best of luck, and hopefully we'll see you next week.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
So that was second place man, Aero Nom, the Estonian, joining us for the first time this season in the commentary box, and nice to have a chat with him.
Yeah, what an experience. I cannot believe what has just transpired before my eyes. I'm so pleased to have had Jack and Johnny Grabs along with me. And I'm so glad to have you, viewer, and I hope that you will join us again. This is SRF Weekend Warriors presented by RaceVoice live on Apex Racing TV. It's like this every week, guys. Come on, join us. Can't wait to see you again next time.